And we are back in the sports desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller.
I'm Mark Sanders.
And I'm Kyle Roberts.
And we are joined today by Three Rivers Raiders assistant baseball coach Noah Burkey. Noah, welcome to the sports desk.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
It's going to be a fun show today. We are in the calm before the storm, before high school sports really gets going in earnest. But we still have a full show today. Noah's going to visit with us a little bit. And we are going to talk a little bit of the St. Louis Cardinals. And we are going to talk a little bit about the National Football League. But we are leading off with the St. Louis Cardinals, who played a week of what I can only describe as purely Cardinals baseball by taking 2 of 3 in Los Angeles, taking 2 of 3 from the Cubs, and then hosting the Rockies and getting embarrassed in 2 out of 3 games to the worst team in baseball. And not only that, one of the worst baseball teams ever. Only of all the St. Louis Cardinal things this team could do, that was the St. Louis Cardinalists. Guys, what do you think, Mark?
They're a 500 ball club, so they're going to win 4 out of 6, and then they're going to lose 4 out of 6. I mean, this is a team that's probably going to finish the season 82-82. The fact that they are still mathematically in the discussion for a wild card spot is just, I mean, it just shows you how completely screwed up the playoff system is, the how far down they've sunk. They're 3.5 games out of the third wild card spot, and the fact that Major League Baseball has 3 wild card participants in each league. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I hate to sound like an old man, but it's just. Say that again.
You're giving out participation trophies by that point, don't you think, with 3 wild card spots?
Well, not just that, but just the idea that a wild card team can get on a hot streak at the end and upset the team with the best record in baseball. In my opinion, it completely devalues the longest regular season in professional sports. So the whole point of the baseball season is that you whittle through that grind and you get down to the 2 best teams. And how long has it been since we had a World Series between the 2 best teams in baseball for that year?
Probably too long.
Yeah. Actually, I think when we had the Astros and Dodgers a few years back. That was the case.
But citing the Astros in a World Series is sort of like talking about Barry Bonds' home run statistics.
Oh, stop it!
Both of them were cheating.
Noah, what do you think, man?
Oh, I mean, I've been a Cardinal fan my entire life. I always pull for them, but it's tough to see what it is now with the wild card situation. It definitely brings an interesting aspect into baseball now. It might bring more fans in, that's what they're hoping for every year. And, with the Bristol game and all that, just kind of add some more, drama into it all. Yep. I think that's the biggest thing with the wild card situation. I see both sides of it. 3 spots is a little crazy, but it's interesting, and it'll probably change here in a few years.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's actually having the opposite effect for the Cardinals. The fact that they're, still reasonably in the wild card discussion. Oh, and by the way, the 3 teams behind the Cardinals, Arizona, San Francisco, and Miami, who are still within 6 games of a wild card spot, are respectively 2 games, 3 games, and 5 games below 500. So, I mean, we have a situation where teams that have a losing record are still in a playoff race. And to me, and I feel the same way in the NFL and the NBA especially, is really egregious, where a team with a losing record can play in the postseason. I think if you don't have a winning record, you should not have a chance to play for a league championship under any circumstances. That's the part that really bothers me. But it's not working for the Cardinals. Their attendance in those games against the Rockies was dismal.
Yeah.
Barely 20,000 people in the stadium.
That's pretty bad.
You know,
it was almost like watching and I know this is a slight exaggeration, but tail end Montreal Expos baseball. That's almost what it felt like on when by comparison.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, and I've said this on our show many times. The Cardinals are not just a blue chip organization. They're one of the diamond organizations of Major League Baseball. And, you know, the only way that we can communicate our dissatisfaction to an owner who, frankly, has been coasting on the successes of the past for more than a decade now is just to cut off his income flow at the gate and at the concessions. So, you know, as much as, you know, St. Louis has been called the best fans in baseball, and I think the only way that we can show that we're still the best fans in baseball is to stop showing up to these games until the team demonstrates a commitment to get back into the playoffs, not as a last chance wild card, but as a division winner.
Exactly.
And bottom line is, for a franchise that has such a pristine history and reputation, the Cardinals this front office acts like the Cardinals have no money to spend. They act like these stereotypical woe is us middle market team, such as say the Cincinnati Reds, where they don't want to spend money. Fun fact, the Cardinals have never given out one $100 million contract in franchise history. Albert Pujols, think about this. Albert Pujols never once got a $100 million contract from the St. Louis Cardinals.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got extensions. We extend. So, yes, tell people, or tell Mo on his way out and tell the DeWitt family, we're tired. We demand better. You should too. So how about you give Chaim Bloom the best possible chance to be successful and invest in this organization, invest in upgrading this roster and the farm system and so on and so forth. When you commit, we'll commit too.
Yeah.
Good thought. I agree. And on that note, we're going to switch gears a bit. And like I said earlier, we are joined today by a special guest, Three Rivers College assistant baseball coach Noah Burkey. Noah's dad was the baseball coach when I was a student here back in the 1990s. And now we have come full circle, and Noah is a baseball coach here too. Noah, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You know, leading off, how does it feel to be back home?
I mean, it feels great. You know, like I said, with our conversation we had last week, you know, growing up around the program, it was like when I was a kid, I was having 25 to 30 new older brothers every year. And, you know, I've stayed in touch with a lot of them. And, you know, Coach Smith and Coach Palmer both played for my dad, and I'm back here on the staff with them. And it's just a great situation. It's a great spot to be, real family-oriented program, and ready to continue their legacy.
Tell me a little bit about your background. I know you played here at Bluff, and then you, I want to say, originally went to Missouri State and then ended up in Little Rock. Well, ended up first back here and then in Little Rock. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so out of high school, I went to Missouri State, which that was COVID year. 2020 is when I graduated high school. And so I got there, and there's an overflow of players that thought they were going to get drafted, and it was a 5-round draft year. And so we had a lot of guys, a lot of old guys at Missouri State. And going in I was just turned 18 freshman. And it's hard to compete with guys that are 21 to 24 years old. And you know, in hindsight, it was just the best move for me to come back here and play for a spring, and then go somewhere where I can compete and for a starting role and contribute to the team. And that's what led me to Little Rock and the coaching staff over there. With Coach Curry at the head of it, I really loved him, and he taught me a lot, and he believed in me when I thought nobody else would. And yeah, that's what the beauty of a coach is, of believing in guys and taking chances on guys, and that's what I'm excited to do.
And you guys had a pretty good run down there at Little Rock. I mean, you got to the LSU Regional this past year, and I know you pitched in that. What was that like?
Oh, it was surreal. I told them in my exit meeting, leaving campus this past June, I was like, there's not going to be a day in my life where I don't think about it. That experience was very special, and just the way that, regular season didn't go as planned. We had a lot of injuries to some key players there, and we got them back towards the end of the year and made a run. And that's all about what baseball is just getting hot at the right time, and we got hot at the right time and made a pretty good run at it. We were 3 wins away from Omaha.
Nice.
And, it was awesome. Great experience.
What do you want to accomplish here back at Three Rivers?
I just want to, develop guys is the biggest thing. Junior college is all about developing, and you get a good group of guys that buy in and want to develop and want to see each other succeed. The win-losses, they'll be there. And I'm just looking forward to helping guys off the field more than anything. Your mentality, your routine, your daily routine, a lot of guys aren't used to having that at this point in their career of just coming out of high school or a young college guy, Developing that good routine is crucial to have success on and off the field. So helping guys develop routines, the mental thought process of everything, that'll be huge. So,
Indeed. And me and Tyler were talking about this, and I think I talked about this maybe some with you as well. You guys have an exciting group together. I know that you've got some guys that came with you from Little Rock.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about this year. What you guys have.
Yeah, we got a pretty exciting group. Like you said, I have, I guess it's 4 guys from Little Rock that I played with. One is his second year here, but 3 guys from last year, and that'll be fun. I played with some of those guys. Some of these guys we have, Baller, played with him in high school. He's a Poplar Bluff guy, and
Nice.
Noah Spain and Dylan Hall. I know them. Just keeping up with Poplar Bluff baseball. It'll be fun. Got a good group. Looking forward to hit the ground running. We got 14 dates this fall and ready to see what they got.
I think it's going to be fun. And have you got anything else you want to add on this segment?
I think I'm all. I think that's it.
Good deal. And that's been our visit with Noah Spain. We are going to jump into football. Noah, you're welcome to stick around with us for a bit, man.
All right.
But in football, we are going to talk a little bit. I'm going to lead off talking about my guys. I'm a huge Tennessee Titans fan, as you all know. We had our first preseason game last weekend. There were goods and bads in it. The final score was not that great down in Tampa, but this is preseason. Nobody gives a rat's rumpus room about the final score. I thought Cam Ward looked good under center. I've heard nothing but good things about him in the early going, and that's big for us because we have struggled to find a franchise quarterback for about 20 years now.
How much did he play in that game?
Not much, but he looked good when he played. He's looked good in camp. He's looked good in, practices against them and against the Falcons, who we have this week. And I'm not saying we're going to be great, but here's the thing. If this team ends up 4-13, that means we're better than last year.
Well, I set your sights a little bit higher. I think Tennessee is probably a minimum. I think their floor is 6 wins. I think you can get a minimum of 6 wins. I think your ceiling is probably 8. But if you guys ended up if you went from 3-14 to 8-9, and that's a dramatic improvement.
That would be really great. I know that I've heard some good things about the offense in the early going. I've heard good things about the Cam Ward Calvin Ridley connection. That is very encouraging. I read, I think yesterday, some good things about how Tony Pollard has looked as a running back. The line looks like it is better, which honestly I would hate to think about it being worse.
And you also have you also have the advantage of a last place schedule, so that's too really working in your favor.
Yep. Kyle, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and talk about my Los Angeles Rams. Again, score doesn't really matter in preseason. We did beat Dallas 31-21. What really impressed me was Stetson Bennett, the former two-time national championship quarterback at Georgia. 16 to 24, a buck 88, had a 100 quarterback rating, looked very good. We had a lot of production out of our running backs. Former Mizzou All-American Cody Schrader, he averaged 11.8 yards per carry on only 5 carries. So he looked good. Jarquez Hunter, our rookie, we ran the ball really well, 181 yards on 38 carries against Dallas. And again, we were very efficient offensively, passing game. We got some solid contributions from guys like Xavier Smith and Britton Covey. And one name that does stand out to me, Drake Stoops, former Oklahoma wide receiver, the son of the legendary Bob Stoops.
Oh, wow.
I just now found out he was on our preseason roster. He had 2 for 28. So we were very, very balanced. Again, for me, the key is improvement of the depth, because we are a top-heavy football team. We've got to get other guys just in case something were to happen to Stafford or Kyron
You mean
Williams,
when something happens to Stafford?
or either of our 1 and 2 receivers. We're going to really need to find out who's ready to step up and perform. But I was very pleased with how balanced and efficient we were offensively. So I'm looking forward to more from us. And we play the Chargers tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time. So a little home cooking for both teams. So what's going on with the Vikings, Sandman?
Well, the big news out of Minnesota was J.J. McCarthy's performance yesterday in the second day of organized practices with the New England Patriots. At one point, McCarthy had completed 13 passes in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, he took the team down the field in the final 2-minute drill, down by an imaginary 6 points, but he led the team down for a touchdown pass to win the game. And of course, I'm plugged into multiple media outlets coming out of Minneapolis, and one of them that I don't listen to is Paul Allen at KFan. I love listening to Paul Allen call the games, but he is essentially a Vikings employee. I mean, technically he's not, but I mean, he's not going to be highly critical. But the other outlets that do are, they're pretty fair in their assessment of what the Vikings look like, and their assessment of McCarthy throughout the preseason has been, well, he looks up and down. He looks like a first-year quarterback. He has good moments, he has bad moments. He showed that in his performance last week against the Texans. He only played the first series of the game. He led a 12-play drive that resulted in a field goal, but they had to go for a field goal because he overthrew his receiver on a third down. Guy was wide open. He just didn't have that accurate touch that he needed in that moment. And everyone from Minnesota is saying, okay, he has arrived, at least yesterday. They said he looked like much more than a game manager. He looked like a franchise quarterback. He looked like a kid who can someday lead them to the promised land. Now, we will drink gallons upon gallons of purple Kool-Aid here in Vikings Nation, but we're not going to get to the point where we take anything for granted. We are a cursed fan base, and we almost always expect the worst to happen. And I'll give you. Oh, Kyle, say hi to the cicadas over there. They're singing for us this morning.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah, in case the listeners are wondering what that buzzing is.
It's cicada opera, y'all.
Yeah, Kyle's joining us from his front porch this morning. But this is sort of like the good and the bad of the Vikings. Justin Jefferson tweaked his hamstring early on in training camp, so they've essentially just mothballed him. They said, you're not going to practice, just sit on the sidelines. And health-wise, Jettis is fine. He's fine. He's going to be ready to play against Chicago, but he's not practicing in the preseason. They won't have him back on the field actually running routes until the week before the home opener. So in his absence, McCarthy has developed an amazing chemistry with our friend Jordan Addison. Jordan's just there every time, and they've developed a great chemistry. Unfortunately, because of some trouble that Addison got into last summer, not this past summer, but the summer before.
Don't drink and drive, y'all.
Yeah, he's, give him credit at least for this. He stood up and, he made his plea to a lesser thing. That's a legal thing. But when the league came around and said it's a 3-game suspension, they said, "Are you going to appeal it?" He said, "No, I'm going to take it. I'm going to let it go." So it's like he did what he did, and he's owned up to it.
That's good.
And he's accepting the punishment. We're definitely going to miss him though for the first 3 games. So it's like that's what being a Vikings fan is. McCarthy's developing. He's got a great chemistry with Addison. And he's not going to be able to build on that chemistry until week 4 over in Dublin, Ireland. So we've got that to look forward to. But I think from top to bottom on both sides of the ball, this is the best Vikings roster that they've had since 2017. That was the last time we went to the NFC Championship. That was my early summer hot take about the Vikings, and I haven't seen anything to dissuade me from sticking with that prediction. I think they're going to make it all the way to the NFC title game. What happens after that depends on so many factors. I just, every team wants to say, this is our year to go to the Super Bowl. Practically speaking, there's probably only about 8 to 10 teams who can realistically think about that this season. But I do feel like Minnesota is one of those teams.
On an aside, I would like to actually say I have one non-Rams team I have a vested interest in that has a local tie to where I live and also state ties. That being the most cursed franchise, the New York Jets. Three Missouri Tigers on the team. Of course, obviously, Armand Membu, who was a top 10 pick at right tackle. Mizzou quarterback legend Brady Cook is currently looking to get the second quarterback spot behind Justin Fields. And in their preseason opener against the Packers, he went 6 of 8 for 62 yards. And the Jets did win that game 30-10. Also, the thicker kicker, Harrison Mevis, is currently kicking for the Jets. And in that game, and I hope he gets the job, quite frankly, he was 3 of 3 on field goals with a long of 39 yards. And also, Joplin product and former South Dakota State running back Isaiah Davis had 6 carries for 14 yards in that game, and he's looking to get possibly the RB2 spot behind Breece Hall. So are the Jets going to make the playoffs this year? Probably not, but I got a vested interest as a Mizzou fan and someone who lives in the 4 states area. Davis graduated from Joplin High School and went on to have a great career at SDSU, which is a FCS powerhouse. So that's my other 2 cents to throw in. So shout out to the Jets. Y'all may win 5 games. Easy on the league.
That sounds good. Noah, do you have a rooting interest in the NFL?
Yeah, well, I'm a Chiefs guy, so you can hate me if you want. But
no. I'm a Swiftie, so
okay.
So I'm KC all the way.
Yeah, that works out well. But the Chiefs are obviously better with Rashee Rice on the field. I saw something yesterday where it was he's able to play the first 4 games, which I was kind of not wanting. I was kind of wanting, first 4 to 6 be a suspension and then just hit the ground running and not have to stop and get back into it.
Right.
But I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with Jaden Royals because he's been taking reps with the first team when Rashee Rice isn't on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And a full season of Hollywood Brown is also something
there you go.
To look forward to. But it'll be interesting, going to the Super Bowl 3 times 3 times in a row. That's cool, but you expect it every year, and when you don't go back, it's tough.
Right.
But,
I think there's 2 intangibles with Kansas City this year. Number one is that the national media has not only written their obituary, they've dug the grave and they've got the shovels ready to throw the dirt on them. And it's just everyone is just dying to rule out Kansas City. No one's picking them, other than Nick Wright. No one's picking them to win their division. Right. Some people are saying, I don't even think Kansas City's going to make the playoffs this year. And this is a team with an enormous amount of pride, and I still think they have a hunger. I think the entire team is, to put it bluntly, pissed off that they didn't do the three-peat. I think,
definitely.
Yeah, I think Mahomes is going to be a man with a mission, and this might be Travis Kelce's last year. But I don't know if any of you heard about this. Travis and Jason had a special guest on their New Heights podcast. You might have heard of her. Mm-hmm. But she was talking about watching Travis train here in the off season, and he realizes that he didn't perform at the level that he expects himself to perform, and so he's done a lot of work in the off season to increase his speed, to increase his stamina, and I think Kansas City's going to play this year like they've got something to prove.
And they're going to have to, because the league is rapidly catching up, and not just the entire the league, but the AFC West. I mean, you're going through a bit of a gauntlet on paper with the Chargers, who, again, number one in scoring defense last year, and Jim Harbaugh's turning them into the Los Angeles Wolverines, the way he's built that team. And you're going to get year two of Bo Nix and Sean Payton together, and he's only going to improve. And people tend to forget that the reigning defensive player of the year is in Denver, and Denver led the NFL in sacks.
Yeah.
They've got a gauntlet schedule. They have to play the Eagles again. They've got to play Baltimore. They play Detroit. They play Washington. That's tough.
Yeah.
But again, this is a high character football team,
mm-hmm.
and they have a lot of pride. And I'm going to give you, I think their breakout player this year is George Karlaftis. I think he very well could make All-Pro this year.
Yeah, that's all those teams that you mentioned on the Kansas City schedule. All of those teams have tough schedules. Detroit, mm-hmm. Minnesota, Green Bay,
yes.
Baltimore, the Chargers. All of those teams have tough schedules. That's why
They're
it's
gonna
so.
beat each other up.
Yeah, true. But that's why it's so important to win your division, and that's why, just one of 1,000 reasons why the NFL is the best professional sport that there is out there, because you have to prove it in the regular season. It's like, in some of these really bad divisions, you get a division winner who's 8-9 who'll sneak in, usually from one of the South divisions. But for the most part, if you can't put together a winning record, and if you can't win in your division, you're not going to make it into the playoffs. So, I think that getting through that kind of schedule, it makes these teams battle tested so that they have the opportunity to be successful in the playoffs. I'm so excited about this season in the NFL. I think it's going to be great.
Big time. I'm looking forward to seeing what a lot of these rookies do. Ashton GT, I'm super excited about with the Raiders. Travis Hunter in Jacksonville, which, by the way, shout out to Cam Little. The second-year kicker.
70-yard field goal.
Wow.
70-yard field goal with room to spare.
Now,
and not kicking it in Denver either.
Yeah, here's my hot take, because the Vikings also have a kicking prodigy in Will Reichard. At some point this season, it'll probably be like into the first half or something, Kevin O'Connell's going to send Will Reichard out to attempt a 70-yard field goal. It's going to happen. I'm not saying Reichard's going to make it, but he's going to take one. Now that the bar has been set, you're going to see it.
There you go. Oh, wow. And guys, as we're wrapping up this week, but make sure you tune in the next 3 weeks, because we've got some fun stuff coming up. Next week is going to be our Volleyball Super Show. I am going to be visiting with several of our area volleyball coaches and maybe some of their players. The week after that, right before high school football, we're going to have our High School Football Super Show. We are tentatively hoping to have a couple of really cool special guests. And then the first show after Labor Day, we are going to have our NFL Super Show, where we're going to talk a lot of football, and things go really good. I'm hoping to have a guest or two on that one. That is going to be fun.
NFL preview, baby.
Dang right.
Yes, sir.
Make your picks.
But that is our show for this week. On behalf of Mark Sanders, Kyle Roberts, go ahead.
Oh,
And-
sorry to interrupt. That
No.
was. I wish that we had an editing deck because that was completely inelegant on my part.
That's my fault. Usually we do it different, but like I said, I'm Mike Bueller,
I'm Mark Sanders.
This is Kyle Roberts.
and
Noah Burkey.
you've been listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, Kyle, and this week Noah.